Hey, this is Pat with Racket String Tips, and today we have Jakob from Orbor on. I'm excited to be talking to Jakob. This is something that a couple weeks ago I reached out um, to Jakob on social media. He posted on Facebook and about an ad regarding, or he was promoting his company about recycling strings, tennis strings specifically. And so I was thinking about that. I got excited about that. So I wanted to talk to him. So I reached out. We chatted a little bit. And so then today we were able to get this on here live to kind of discuss a little bit about what you do. And you're a student, of course, you're a student at Boston University playing tennis on their team. So that's awesome. Engineering student. And you and some partners created this company because you felt like recycling strings was important. And so I do have this right here. This is the website Orbor, and it's all about recycling strings. Jakob, I'll just hand it over to you for a minute, but it's great having you on the show here. And yeah, let's just get into it.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Patrick.
Yeah.
I'm a second year at Boston University. I'm studying mechanical engineering, and I'm also playing on the varsity tennis team here. And yeah, sort of how we got into it was I've always been interested in the fashion industry along with tennis. I've been playing tennis since I was three, and I started my own company in seventh grade when I was reselling clothes and shoes. And then at the beginning of college, I started my own clothing company where I was creating sweatshirts overseas and selling them here in the US. And when I was doing that, I saw some issues in the supply chain and realized how big of an issue there is with sustainability in fashion. And that's when I thought of using tennis strings to create clothes. And then,
Yeah.
yeah,
I was, I mean, that is something that is so needed. That's why I think I reached out to you because I remember like at many of the tournament, just in general, like you're at a tournament and especially some of the majors in your string, and there's 5,000 rackets, and so there's basically 5,000 racket string that just gets wasted and just bags and bags. So you can imagine that. So I was thinking this is so needed, and I don't know if there's really any other companies out there that do it quite like this, because there's a plan that you have at the other end. It's not just recycling them for whatever reason. We'll get into that in a minute, but I just wanted to read kind of your website. What Oribor, what is that? Is that have some significance? The name, does it have some kind of significance?
yeah, so it's short for the word Ouroboros, which is an ancient symbol that represents circularity. And the idea is that we're circular within the tennis industry and we're turning tennis strings into tennis clothes. So that's where
Kind
the
of like
idea
starting
comes
in
from.
one end and then you keep going around and then it kind of comes around
Yeah,
360
exactly.
kind of. Perfect. And
Exactly.
and yeah, and on the website you said it, transforming strings, sustaining futures, and and it basically says here that you're founded by tennis players at Boston University, dedicated to revolutionizing recycling in the tennis and textile industry by transforming used tennis strings into high purity polyester suitable for clothing manufacturing. Through innovation and collaboration, we aim to reduce waste, advance the circular economy, that's what you're talking about there, and inspire sustainable practices across industries, all while staying rooted in the values of teamwork and dedicated. We're learning on the court. So that's awesome that you're like involved in tennis, being a star down there at Boston University, right? So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Boston College. And so um, as far as, I guess, take me through the process of how this works for the whole recycling process, and how you turn basically dead string into something usable, just
Yeah.
just in layman's terms, I guess.
Yeah. So I can start with how we collect it first. So how we've been doing it so far, and luckily we've been reaching out to a lot of places, and we're at over 80 locations so far. We're trying to get to 250 in the next 2 months. But what we do is we have anyone who strings rackets, whether that's tournaments, clubs, retailers, or universities. we have them put their old cutout string into an empty box, whether that's an Amazon box or like a box from tennis ball cases. And once it's full, they send us the estimated weight and the estimated size, and we send them a prepaid shipping label. And then it's all shipped to my doubles partner and co-founder's house here in Boston. And then from there, we're able to sort out the polyester from the non-polyester string through a process we designed. And then we drive it up to the university where we're working on our pilot, UMass Lowell, which is only 30 minutes away. And from there, we basically clean it, remove all the contaminants, surface contaminants, and anything that's not polyester inside the string. And then the idea from a perspective of a non-scientist is that we melt it down and then we basically extrude out the melted parts. And then we're able to spin that into these fibers. And then we collect those fibers and we're able to turn that into a yarn. And we're able, yeah.
Oh, I was just going to ask. So this is for polyester strings only. It's not for your synthetics or for natural gut. This is specifically poly strings, correct?
Yeah, so we're developing a process for polyester right now since it's the majority of tennis string used. But we're
Yeah.
also developing a process on the side for nylon as well. Synthetic gut, we're looking at, there's some companies who are able to turn synthetic gut and stuff into like bracelets or stuff, but they don't really have any use in upcycling them since it's a interesting material.
Right. And you're gonna share a little bit about what the upcycling actually what this turns into, and that's kind of what excites me about this, because it actually ends up being something that is for the end user, and it ends up turning back into something that well, go ahead and I guess talk about that.
Yeah, so I'll continue off with the once we get to the yarn, we're able to drive that over to another place in Massachusetts, and from there we're able to turn it into full textiles. So we'll be able to create your tennis shirts, your tennis shorts, any warm-up gear you want, tracksuits, any polyester clothing basically, and it'll be very similar to like sort of like a Nike dry fit material. It's very moisture wicking, it's comfortable, it's soft, and anyone who plays tennis or pickleball or even anyone who works out will be able to use it and they'll see the performance it induces.
Right. Wow, that's awesome. And so how much string does it actually take to make, I guess, one shirt?
Yeah, so since we're creating high quality shirts, it's a little more than usual, but 10 cutout rackets of string of shirts will make one 10 cutout rackets of string of polyester string will create one shirt.
So that's like 400 feet of polyester tennis string. So
Yeah.
that's easy enough. And so do you string rackets yourself? I guess I just want to ask you. So do you string rackets or
No, I don't actually.
no? So
Yeah.
you have somebody on your team there that strings. So do you have it connected with your team there at
Yeah.
Boston? Yeah. And um, have you kind of reached out? Has that kind of spread to some of the other colleges that you play?
Yeah, yeah. So we're at a couple universities right now. I played Cornell in a tournament in the fall, and so we're collecting all the string from Cornell's tennis center, which is they have a ton of string. It's pretty crazy. And
Yeah.
then some other university we've played as well.
And so you've been doing this for a little bit of time now. You've kind of got the process down to somewhat, and you're getting ready to kind of start launching some of these shirts. Is there a minimum, like you were talking earlier? This is basically for everybody. Anybody who strings racket, whether it's at a club, whether it's at at home for their junior, for themselves.
Yeah.
Like, what's the minimum that somebody can send in to make it viable for them, like shipping costs and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so there's no minimum. We have some like dads and moms who are just sending in the rackets they string for their kids for junior tournaments. And whether
Oh,
that's
okay.
like 500 grams or a couple pounds
Uh-huh.
to we're collecting sometimes 15 pounds a week from certain places. So any range really
Mhm.
works.
and to make this clear, this right now you're rolling this out in the United States. So right now you're not going international, or you're not going across the globe or anything like that. Right now you're trying to really saturate the market here in the U.S. and kind of get into a lot of the markets, get into the tournaments, get into the pro shops, the tennis shops. So it kind of is one of those things. We're trying to eliminate plastic, right? We're trying to eliminate a lot of racket bags have been eliminated, or at least they use biodegradable bags, or some tournaments even use other types of bags to like put the players' rackets in and stuff like that. So that kind of we start thinking about eliminating. Some of the companies are changing their packaging, right? I know, Babolat thinks about that a little bit. Technofiber, there's a few other companies as well, right, that are really on the forefront, because there's so much plastic that is wasted, like the containers that the set of string comes in. Of course, the reels. I mean, there's just tons of plastic and waste, right? And so when it kind of just makes you feel good that you're doing this kind of thing, but there's also another part to it, right? So when it obviously becomes an end product that somebody could later on then purchase wherever that ends up going to. But then how else could somebody benefit from giving string to you guys? I mean, what other benefits might there be? I mean, I know it's not like you're paying them, but how does that work?
Yeah, so one thing that we started after we partnered with a couple stores is on our website, we're actually listing all the locations we're collecting string at. So end consumers or users who are looking for clothes through our website will also be able to find where they can get their rackets strung near them. And we've sorted it by each state in the US. So they'll be able to find locations near them, and it'll help each of the stores where we're collecting string get a little more traction, and hopefully get some people who are paying them to string their rackets.
Yeah, I think it could definitely be. It's something that everybody can talk about, that they're proud that they're recycling all these strings. It's not just all wasted polyester string, and then it turns into something else. And somebody might just be kind of like excited to buy a recycled shirt from tennis strings, right?
Yeah.
So right now you don't have any final product that's out in the market, right? But
No.
when do you think that launch? What's your projected launch on that?
Yeah, so in the next month or so, we're hopefully gonna have our first full shirt. We're still working with the universities to fine tune all the settings for the process, as it takes a lot. But once we have that down, we'll be able to put in continuous batches of tennis strings, and then hopefully by the end of the summer, we'll do our first full launch with one of the brands who we've agreed to work with.
So we have you guys that you do all of this in the United States, right? Or do you have to outsource this to another place to get everything done?
Yeah, no, it's all done in one state. It's all done in Massachusetts. So all the strings sent to my teammate's house in Massachusetts. We're running out of space there because we probably have 700 pounds of string in his basement right now. And
Okay.
then we drive it 30 minutes away to one of the universities. And then at that university, they have the facilities to full commercial scale, basically turn it into yarn. And then we drive it another 30 minutes to a place that can turn it fully into clothes. So through that process, we're able to like reduce the carbon emissions all from shipping. Because usually all of our tennis clothing is made overseas and then it's shipped to the United States. But we'll be able to all do it in one state.
Yeah, this sounds like this innovation. I mean, I know everybody's thinking about how can we recycle, wasted plastic and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I think for polyester strings, this is probably one of the first, or um, or you're doing it a little bit different, or you're actually getting it into an end product. Or I mean, there's obviously some differences of what you're doing, but I haven't really heard of a lot of recycling going on with tennis strings outside of that. I mean, I know we recycle tennis balls for other purposes and we do all these other things, but tennis strings hasn't been something that I've heard a lot about, like being able to recycle, except maybe some tennis strings are now starting to be made from some type of recycled material, but I don't know.
Yeah, so I can talk. There's actually Technofiber actually just started doing this a little bit in Spain, but they're doing it a little different from us. We're sort of directing the whole process from collecting it from the consumers, which are the stringers, all the way to the final product. And yeah, we're able to basically direct all the waste in the US towards us. So we're eliminating all the waste. And we're using a patented process that one of our scientists developed. So that gives us a little bit of a competitive edge. And through that process, we're able to create tennis shirts that are basically, you wouldn't be able to tell them apart from non-recycled tennis shirts.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like where you're at in the East Coast there, and then being part of a top tennis team, you have lots of access to, smart minds and
Yeah.
a lot of people you can collaborate with. So it sounds like you're like in a perfect kind of setup there to get this going. And who knows, this might be a job for you after you're done with college. You might not have to like go get a real job, right?
Yeah. I mean, hopefully we've seen a lot of traction so far, and if it keeps picking up, hopefully I'll just be able to do this full time. And actually, the process we've developed, we'll be able to turn any polyester shirt into a new polyester shirt, basically. So eventually we're going to scale into that. So we could even take the tennis shirts that we make from the tennis strings, and once our user of the tennis shirt is done with that shirt and it's all worn out, we'll be able to take it back from them and fully turn it into a brand new shirt, and you won't be able to tell the difference.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that sounds pretty cool. So do you have like, have you had, what are some of the things that people are saying about it? Or maybe some of the people that are, sending you string to recycle. I mean, are you having some feedback from them as far as like, wow, this is great. I'm glad that there's something out there like this. Or what's the response out in the field, I guess?
Yeah, so the tennis community is great. I mean, me and my co-founder were doubles partners, and he's from the West Coast, I'm from the East Coast, but we're so deeply rooted in the community. We receive so much support from like the USTA and all the organizations we reach out to, especially individual stringers. Some of them, like yourself, are more passionate for sustainability, so they all like want to be involved or seeing what they can do to help. Of course, there's like the few who are they don't want us to collect their string, but that's probably 1 out of every 50 so far. So we've been really
Okay.
lucky.
Yeah. I mean, it's like it's saving it so it's not floating out in the ocean, right? Would be the thing, right? And I live by the Pacific, by the ocean, right? So here in Hawaii, and so there's nobody right now that's doing it out here. So I'm going to definitely see what I can do to get everything here, and then to reach out to people out in the industry that I know. Because we got to get this to professional tournaments, because obviously that's where the scale of this is, right?
Yeah.
Now at that scale, it might be a little bit of work for people, but you still provide, it shouldn't really be that much work once you set up a way for them to like, okay, because really if you're in a stringing room, you have all the strings, somebody just puts it in a bag, fills it up, walks it out to the trash. So it might take 1 or 2 extra little steps to get it to you in that scale, but I think that's totally doable.
Yeah, so for those tournaments, me and my co-founder, we're gonna fly out or go wherever the tournaments are and do it ourselves. So we know how much stringers have to do at those tournaments. They're under a time crunch, so we'll be able to do the process for them if the tournaments agree to let us collect that string.
And you haven't done any of those yet, but maybe in the future, once you've done some of that, we'll get you back on and kind of you can share kind of how that goes, and hopefully we can connect you with some of that as well, because there's obviously tournaments going on constantly, and so of course you're busy with your tennis playing right now because you're right in the middle of the season, right? So so tell me, what kind of machine do you guys, on another note, what kind of machine do you guys use there at the university as string, or do you know?
No, I don't know actually.
Okay. Do you
Because
guys do it
the
in-house? Do you guys do it
university,
in-house, or is there a coach, or is there somebody that like contracts with you to do it? Because I've had some guys on that they contract with some of the colleges to do stringing. Is that the case, or do you guys have in-house stringing?
yeah, they pay like non-tennis players at BU to string, so the university pays for it. They pay them like some $12 a racket. So we don't actually see it. We just drop them off and pick them
Okay,
up.
yeah. So
Basically.
that's exactly like $12. That's pretty cheap. Somebody's really doing a good service to you for
Yeah,
$12
yeah. Just
a
the
shot, man.
university students looking for some money to spend on whatever.
And then you're sponsored, and then of course you're sponsored by probably a string company. What, Solinco maybe, or what?
Yeah, yeah. We use Solinka, but I actually used one of my friends in DC who I met at City Open. We were both hitting partners. He has his own string company. It's called Restring. They're actually very involved in sustainability, and they're actually creating a new string coming out soon, which is very sustainable. But I used his string, and he sent me some, and a lot of my
Oh,
teammates use it.
does he sell it publicly, or is it just kind of for you guys?
Yeah, he sells it publicly,
Oh.
but yeah, I got
Yeah,
close with
maybe
him when we
you'll
worked
have to
out.
send me a sample or something. I'll promote, I'll put it on here. I'll try it out, or
Yeah,
string it, see how it is and stuff. That's
yeah.
cool.
No, it's awesome string. The way he designed it was like, I use the one that has more spin and feel, but the way he designed it was internally there's some like coatings and lubricant so that once it wears down, it still snaps back into place, so it degrades
Oh.
less over time. So it's awesome.
Yeah,
It's my
because for
favorite
poly
string I've
strings,
had.
that's important because they lose so much tension. Some poly strings lose 30 to 40% like within days, right?
Yeah.
And how long does a string basically stay in a racket for you? Like how often do you change it out?
If I'm playing a match, I like to play with a new racket, and then probably 3 or 4 hours I'll pop it. Yeah, but the string he sends me is it's the longest lasting string I've used. It's called Restring Zero is the one that I
Restring.
use.
Oh, okay. Huh. Yeah, we'll definitely check into that. That's cool, man. You got all sorts of things happening out there with tennis and stuff. That sounds pretty cool. But
Yeah,
Solinco is a big one. Solinco is a big one that, because I know that's pretty big with colleges and stuff. So you
yeah,
guys
yeah,
got you got like kind of sponsored by that and stuff. So
yeah,
you get hooked up with that. Yeah.
yeah. We get all the free Hyper G and Tour Bite.
Which is your favorite out of that? I know Solinco just came out with a new string. I think released something today actually, but I
Really?
won't talk
No,
about
I
it.
didn't
Yeah, I
see
think
that.
so. But yeah, um, yeah, I mean, there's the Hyper G. There's a bunch of different versions of that, right? Like soft and rough and
Yeah,
a few other ones and stuff. So yeah, that's been a pretty good. Solinco's been doing pretty well. So it's a pretty good string and stuff. So I guess let's just end it here, or just kind of sum it up. Like, so basically, if somebody was interested in connecting with you and making this happen, of course, I'm going to put a link in the description of this video when it goes,
yeah,
and I'll have your website on there, so they can connect directly through that. But so what do they need to do if somebody has some strings, polyester strings, and say, hey man, I want to be part of this? What do they need to do?
yeah. So on the website, you'll see on the link below, there's a Google form for any facility or people who want to participate, and it's just a couple of questions, and I'll be able to reach out to you from that and get in contact with you. Or if you have string already and you want to send it to me, my number and my email are on the website as well. So you can directly email, just say how much string you have, your address, and the size of the box you're sending, and I'll get you a prepaid shipping label right away.
Wow. Okay. So yeah. So you guys pay for the shipping and get the label, and so basically it just is going to take whoever's doing it just to get the box and get it all packed up, and then it comes to you, and then so then I forgot, what did you say is the timeline for like the first production of some shirts and all that? What's your projected timeline?
Yeah, so hopefully in the next month I'll have my first sample of a shirt, and then in the summer hopefully we'll do a full scale launch of with one of the brands who's looking to collaborate with us.
Wow, I mean that sounds awesome. Well, thanks, Jacob, today for coming on to the show and kind of just sharing about that. I think this is gonna be huge. You already have quite a lot of people involved in this. We just got to keep it moving so that basically all the string that gets wasted in the U.S. that's poly goes to a recycling place like this, right? So that you guys are just like over I guess, populated with string in your basement so that you can make this happen and turn it into something that we can use and keep it out of the landfills and stuff, right?
Yeah, that's our goal. We just want to collect as much string as physically possible.
It sounds so. Any other final words, or should we just end there?
Actually, I one final fun
Okay.
fact for the viewers that we use on all of our pitches to investors. So the amount of string that my co-founder Jonah and I have went through in our lifetimes, based on our estimation, is the equivalent of throwing away 9,125 17-ounce water bottles, and that's just two of us. So
Wow.
imagine your whole room right now just filled up to the room with water
That
bottles, and that's not even enough for the amount of string we've used.
and those things take a long time to decompose, right?
Yeah, hundreds of years in our in our lifetimes, they won't decompose in the landfills.
It's like, you know, that like that trash island out in the ocean or whatever it is, just miles of just trash and there's plastic everywhere. And yeah, it's like, man, you guys are doing I think you're doing great work out there, and
Thank you.
just keep it up, and I look forward to, you know, keeping this going. And yeah, thanks for being on the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Patrick. It was great
Yeah.
talking to you.